Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to Yorkshire Gamer. And it's going to be one of my infrequent reviews, and I've got a load of stuff backed up to review and have a look through from various people. So do apologise if you have sent me anything. It's just so many things going on at the moment. But harping back to one of the podcasts that I did recently, I think it was number 40, where I spoke to the author of this book, Steve Shann. And Steve left behind a couple of books for me to have a look at, and I'm going to do a review of them just so you can see what's in them. And if you enjoy what you see, then pop along to Caliver Books. Is probably the best place to get these, according to Steve. And today I'm looking at this Wargamers guide to the Seelow Heights, 16th to the 19th of April 1945. And a lovely cover picture on the front there, a couple of panthers going through a German town late in the war. Interesting choice of period. This is right at the end of the war. This is a massive Russian attack against pretty worn down German forces. A lot of recruits, elderly, young people. They're dragging people from everywhere to try and defend Germany at this particular point. And this is the last major push before the Russians get through to Berlin. It's an interesting scenario, and what Steve's done with it is really good, and we'll talk about that as we go through the books. Because you will see that the Russian forces are obviously massively bigger than the Germans. The Germans are doing holding actions, and it's about gaining time for Germans rather than gaining ground for the Russians. And there was a lot of competition between the Russian generals to get furthest first. And in their doctrine, the lives of the troops didn't particularly matter. So there's lots of that involved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of do a quick flick through the book, talk a little bit about its contents, and then I'm going to zoom in on one of the scenarios, show you that in detail, and then you get an idea of what the other scenarios in the book are like, and if it suits you. So there we go, there's the front cover, and we'll just do the back cover as well. And on the rear, we've got a Russian assault gun attacking through, looking like the similar town. All these figures and vehicles are from the author's collection. So on the back, the blurb is there: Wargame deciphers Battle for Berlin, 12 scenarios, specifically commissioned maps and dozens of colour photos, plus detailed order of battles, and then some rule suggestions, etc. for the various rules as we go through. And Nations in Arms Publications is how Steve publishes his stuff. So we'll open up on the first page there, and then we've got a general overview map of the area in question that you're going to be fighting over. And then some details of Steve here and his blog, etc. And this was published in 2020, and we're looking at a total of 57 pages. Contents: we have an introduction, the road to Berlin, the battle, the opposing forces, and then special rules, depending on what set of rules you used to game World War II. And then a list of scenarios. So, again, I'm just going to flick through this, show you what it's all about. Obviously, I don't want to read it out for you because there'd be no point in buying it then, would there? So, introduction, then Road to Berlin, a little bit of background information, and talking about the battle itself, then the opposing forces, and lots of details in there about how big the Russian forces were, and then move on to special rules. Now this book is based around or primarily for rapid fire, and a lot of the rule suggestions in here are for rapid fire, but it's perfectly good for any set of rules that is kind of battalion size and above, maybe. It's not a skirmish set of scenarios, definitely not. So it's for that slightly bigger set of rules, or an adaptation that you've done yourself from, say, Bolt Action or something like that. All could be purposefully used. This is just Steve's little guide here, the various things that you need to be aware of that to streamline your rules to the specific theatre of World War II. So, and then we're on to the scenarios themselves, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick one of these at random, and let's pick this one, and that was at random, trust me, and each of the scenarios is laid out in the same way. So the first page, you'll get obviously an instruction or information about what the battle is and a little rundown of what the situation is on the battlefield. Lovely picture there of a Stug going through some buildings. Then move on, we talk about deployment and then special rules that apply to this scenario specifically. And this one's talking about a hit and run rule applying to Stugs of the 920th Panzerjäger Arbeitslung, and roadblocks and various rules there for German troops remaining in a village at the end of the day. So then we move on, and I'll just zoom in a little bit for this for you. We're zooming in, and we've got here a list of the German forces, and it's all, as you can see there, it's all elements, it's all single vehicles, a couple of Stugs here and there, and reasonably large force for most people, I would suggest, but certainly doable amongst a group of friends. And we've got some Tigers in there, and everyone loves a Tiger. Pack 40, a couple of Tiger 2, a couple of Stugs. So bits and pieces of units that have been left around to fight. Then we move on to the Soviet forces, and I'm going to have to zoom out for that, focusing again. And then we've got Guards Rifle Division, Guards Rifle Regiment, lots of infantry there. We've got 3 rifle companies in each one of these regiments, so these are quite a lot of figures. Then we've got 8 T-34s, load of armour support there, another 11 tanks, another 8 tanks there. So you can see the difference in size between the German and Russian units. And although the Germans got some nice kit, very, very limited amounts of it. The Russians, just buckets full of it. Then move on to the objectives. There's a little sidebar there on this particular one, and it talks about it being fairly complex and ambitious. That's what we like to do. And then game length and table size. So day 1, 12 moves. Day 2, 18 moves. 2-day game. Table size is 10 by 6, but could be introduced to 12 or even 14 foot if you have the room. So like I say, this isn't a skirmish action. This is a biggish game. And then at the end of each scenario, you have these lovely detailed maps. And if you go back and listen to the podcast, we talked about these maps and the layouts and how Steve effectively did all this himself, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Each of these games has been tested and played with the lads at Legendary Wargames. So if you ever fancy a Wargames weekend, then bob onto the Legendary Wargames website and they can fix you up, I'm sure, with a game like this. Just get in contact with them and they'll sort something out. So that's one of the scenarios in detail. And if we flick back here, I think it was 12, wasn't it? We've got 1001 Nights at Alt Lewin, Lechin, I can't pronounce anything. It's Yorkshire German. Neu Langsau, across the Hamptgraben, the Seelow Heights, which is the one that we looked at, Ritzen, Neutrebin, Reichenberg, Holding the Shoulder at Dolgelin, Breakthrough at Doddersdorf, Bottleneck at Hersorn, and Munchenberg at the Final Breach. And if you want to report me to the European Union for my murder of the German language, you are quite welcome. So there we go. This is Steve's book that is available from Partisan Press. And after all that, I forgot the most important bit. It is price £18.50 from Partisan. Sorry, Caliver Books. Dave Ryan, Caliver Books, £18.50. I'll put a link in the show notes below. So thanks for watching this quick review. I hope it was helpful. If you do like World War II, like World War II, this is definitely the book for you. So I'll see you soon. See you then.